Dr. Ethan Hale stepped off the sleek starship and onto the shining platform of Xerion, the alien planet known across the galaxy for its advanced science and beautiful cities. He adjusted his medical coat nervously. This was not like any hospital he had worked in on Earth. The buildings shimmered with light that seemed alive, and the air was tinged with a soft blue glow, a natural effect of Xerion's unique atmosphere. Ethan's mission was simple, yet important. Assist the Xerion royal family with medical expertise from Earth and strengthen human-alien relations. But as he looked around, he could feel that something extraordinary was about to happen. A group of Xerions approached, tall and elegant, their skin a soft, pearlescent color, with eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. One of them stepped forward and bowed. "Welcome to Xerion, Dr. Hale. I am Minister Veylan, representative of the royal court. The princess awaits your presence." Ethan nodded, trying to hide his excitement. He had read about Princess Lyra, the young heir to the throne, admired throughout Xerion for her intelligence and bravery. Meeting her would be an honor of a lifetime. The transport vehicle carried them smoothly through the city. Ethan could see floating gardens, streams of water that glimmered under artificial sunlight, and citizens moving with graceful, precise motions. Everything felt advanced, yet peaceful. Finally, they arrived at the royal palace, a towering structure made of crystal-like material that reflected the surrounding lights like a giant prism. Inside, the corridors were wide, with walls covered in glowing patterns that seemed to shift as Ethan walked by. Minister Veylan led him to a large chamber where the royal family awaited. At the center of the room stood Princess Lyra. She was taller than he expected, with long silver hair that shimmered under the chamber lights. Her eyes, a soft violet, held both intelligence and curiosity. She approached Ethan with a polite nod. "Dr. Hale," she said in a melodious voice, "we are honored to have you on Xerion. Your people are known for their medical skills. I hope you will find our science compatible with your methods." Ethan smiled. "Thank you, Princess Lyra. I am eager to learn from your world, and I hope my knowledge can be useful here as well." The conversation was cordial, but Ethan sensed a subtle tension in the room, something that was not visible at first glance. Minister Veylan seemed restless, glancing at various security panels, and even the palace guards moved with unusual alertness. Before Ethan could ask about it, an alarm sounded, a high-pitched, urgent sound that echoed through the palace corridors. The lights dimmed slightly and a holographic panel activated in the center of the room, showing a medical emergency. The princess's face paled, though she tried to hide it. "It seems there is a problem," she said calmly, but Ethan could see the worry in her eyes. Minister Veylan stepped forward. "Dr. Hale, it appears the princess has been exposed to a rare Xerion bioagent, normally harmless to adults but potentially dangerous for her age and condition. Your help is urgently needed." Ethan's heart raced. He had expected challenges, but life-threatening emergencies were more intense than diplomatic visits. Without hesitation, he followed the minister down the corridors toward the medical wing. The wing was unlike any hospital on Earth. Machines hummed softly, and glowing instruments floated in the air, adjusting automatically to the patient's needs. A team of Xerion doctors awaited him, their faces showing a mix of respect and nervousness. "Dr. Hale," one of them said, "the princess's condition is unusual. Our usual treatments may not work fast enough. We need your insight." Ethan nodded, quickly analyzing the situation. The bioagent was biochemical, reacting with the princess's cellular structure in a way that their medicine could not reverse immediately. He needed to act fast and carefully. He approached Princess Lyra, who was lying on a sleek medical platform. Despite her pale skin and faint trembling, she lifted her eyes toward him, calm yet alert. "Dr. Hale," she said softly, "please save me. I trust you." The weight of responsibility settled on Ethan's shoulders, but it did not scare him. Instead, he felt a determined focus. He examined the readings on the floating instruments, his mind racing through possibilities. "Xerion medicine is advanced," he said aloud, "but your treatment is not compatible with the agent's effect. I need to combine human biochemistry with your technology to stabilize her." The Xerian doctors exchanged uncertain glances. Ethan noticed their hesitation and smiled reassuringly. "I know your science is powerful. Let us work together. I respect your methods, but this requires a small human adjustment." Working side by side, Ethan and the Xerian team started the delicate procedure. He injected a carefully measured human enzyme into the system, while the Xerians adjusted their machinery to amplify its effect without harming her. The room was tense, every beep and hum carrying enormous significance. Minutes felt like hours. Ethan watched the princess carefully. Her breathing, once faint and irregular, slowly began to stabilize. Color returned to her skin, and her trembling eased. Princess Lyra opened her eyes fully and smiled weakly. "Doctor, you saved me." Ethan allowed himself a small sigh of relief. "Your strength helped too. You stayed calm under pressure. That made a big difference." Minister Velan, who had been monitoring silently, stepped forward, visibly relieved. "Dr. Hale, your skill has proven invaluable. You have not only saved the princess, but also strengthened trust between our species." Princess Lyra reached out and touched Ethan's hand lightly. "I hope your people will come to Xerion more often. Humans, you have courage and intelligence that is rare in the galaxy." Ethan felt a surge of pride. He realized that human ingenuity and determination could make a difference even on planets far more advanced than Earth. As the initial danger passed, Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. Something had caused the princess to be exposed to the bioagent, and he could sense it was not an accident. Questions swirled in his mind. Who would want to harm the princess? Was it political, or something more sinister? For now, he focused on her recovery. The princess rested under careful monitoring, her trust in him growing with every hour. Ethan stayed nearby, explaining his methods to the Xerian doctors and learning their unique approaches in return. The collaboration was smooth, yet filled with unspoken tension, like everyone sensed the shadow of danger lurking nearby. Even as he worked, Ethan took note of the palace's security systems, the unusual vigilance of the guards, and small inconsistencies in the palace routine. Something was not right, and he knew he had to be ready for whatever came next. Princess Lyra, now more awake, looked at him with curiosity. "Dr. Hale, your people, you are different. You think in ways we do not. Perhaps that is why you saved me." Ethan smiled. "Perhaps, Princess. Humans face challenges differently, but we try to solve problems with what we have. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we never give up." Her eyes reflected admiration. "I am glad you did not give up. I am glad you are here." The palace corridors were calm once more, but the sense of unease lingered. Ethan knew that his role had changed. He was no longer just a visiting doctor. He had become a protector, a problem solver, and possibly a key figure in the princess's life and the future of Xerian human relations. That night, as Ethan reviewed his notes and prepared for the next day, he could see the stars through the palace windows shining brighter than ever. Somewhere out there, the galaxy waited with challenges, mysteries, and dangers. But he felt ready. For now, the princess was safe, thanks to a human doctor who dared to step into a world unlike his own, and somewhere deep in the palace, plots and secrets stirred, promising that Ethan's adventure on Xerion was only beginning. The morning sunlight filtered through the shimmering walls of the Xerian palace, painting soft patterns across the floors. Dr. Ethan Hale woke early, already thinking about Princess Lyra and the delicate work ahead. The previous night had been intense. Her life had hung in the balance, but now her condition was stable. That gave him time to plan the next steps. Ethan entered the Royal Medical Wing, where floating instruments hummed softly. The Xerian doctors had begun their usual routines, but their expressions carried curiosity mixed with respect. To them, Ethan's methods were unusual, even daring, but effective. Princess Lyra was awake, seated on her medical platform. She smiled when she saw him. "Good morning, Dr. Hale. How is my patient today?" Ethan chuckled softly. "Good morning, Princess. I would say you are improving nicely, but we have more work to do if we want a full recovery." She nodded, her violet eyes shining with intelligence and curiosity. "I want to learn about your methods. Humans have a unique way of thinking. Perhaps I can understand more about your people through your work." Ethan was surprised by her eagerness. "Of course, but first let us make sure you are completely safe." He began the morning check, carefully monitoring her vital signs. The Xerian doctors watched closely as he adjusted the enzyme treatment he had administered the night before. He explained each step, describing why certain reactions occurred and how human biochemistry could complement Xerian medicine. "The enzyme works by stabilizing certain cells while your machinery enhances the healing process," Ethan said. "It is a combination of human insight and Xerian precision." Princess Lyra listened intently, asking questions that showed her deep understanding. "So, human enzymes can work in alien biology? That is remarkable," Ethan smiled. "It is. Not magic. It is science and teamwork." Hours passed as Ethan carefully adjusted the treatments. The princess grew stronger and more energetic. She even began to walk short distances under careful supervision, surprising the Xerian doctors. Their admiration for the human doctor grew with every step. During a break, Lyra spoke more freely. "Dr. Hale, may I ask something?" "Of course," he replied. "Why did you risk so much to save me? Humans are far away, and yet you did not hesitate." Ethan considered the question carefully. "I believe that every life matters, Princess. No matter the planet or species, helping someone in danger is what we should do. It is not about reward or recognition. It is about doing what is right." Lyra's eyes softened. "You are very different from anyone I have met. Perhaps that is why you are so brave." Ethan smiled, but he knew he had to stay focused. The incident had not been an accident. While the princess recovered, he quietly examined the surrounding systems and medical records. He noticed anomalies, small signs that something had interfered with her environment before the bioagent exposure. Later, he spoke with Minister Valen. "I am concerned that the incident was intentional," Ethan said. "There are patterns that suggest someone wanted to harm the princess." Valen frowned. "You think someone in the palace or nearby could be behind this?" "It is possible," Ethan replied. "We must be careful. While I focus on her recovery, we also need to consider protection and investigation." That afternoon, Ethan returned to Princess Lyra. She was seated in the palace garden, surrounded by plants that glowed faintly under Xerian's unique light. The air smelled fresh, tinged with a natural sweetness. "I want to accompany you in your work today," Lyra said. "I want to understand everything you are doing. Perhaps together we can find a solution faster." Ethan nodded. "Very well, Princess. But we must be careful. Some treatments are delicate, and any mistake could slow your recovery." Together, they walked through the medical wing. Ethan explained the machines, how the Xerian technology worked, and how he integrated human knowledge. Lyra asked insightful questions, showing not only curiosity but also a natural intelligence and analytical mind. "You think differently," she said after a moment. "Humans approach problems in steps, observing each reaction. Xerians often rely on patterns and speed, but you take your time. It works." Ethan smiled. "Different minds solve different problems. We can learn from each other." Their collaboration was smooth, and soon the princess's condition improved faster than expected. But while they worked, Ethan continued discreetly investigating the cause of the bioagent exposure. He reviewed security logs, environmental controls, and the timing of events. Slowly, he pieced together a troubling picture. Someone had tampered with the laboratory systems, introducing the agent deliberately. One evening, while analyzing data in a quiet room, Ethan noticed a security breach in the palace archives. A hidden figure had accessed restricted files, likely looking for information about the royal family. His heart raced. Whoever was behind this was clever, patient, and dangerous. He reported the finding to Minister Veylan, who was visibly alarmed. "Dr. Hale, this is serious. If this threat is real, the princess may be in danger again." Ethan nodded. "That is why I am careful. We must protect her while continuing her treatment. And I will find the one responsible." Meanwhile, Princess Lyra noticed Ethan's concern. "You seem troubled, Doctor. Is there danger still near?" Ethan shook his head slightly. "Not near, not yet. But we must remain vigilant. Someone may not want you well." She regarded him thoughtfully. "You risk much for me, and yet you do not hesitate. I admire that. Perhaps humans are braver than they appear." Ethan smiled, humbled by her words. "We try. That is all we can do." Days passed and the princess grew stronger. Her laughter returned, light and musical, filling the palace corridors. She began learning basic human medical techniques, guided by Ethan, and even helped with simple monitoring of her own health. During one session, she noticed a small error in the machinery calibration, which Ethan had not yet seen. She pointed it out, and he realized she was becoming attentive to details, learning quickly. "You are improving faster than I expected," Ethan said. "Not just physically, but in understanding the work. Very impressive." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Then I may become a doctor too, like you someday. Perhaps humans and Xerians can learn from each other more often." Their bond grew, not romantic, but filled with mutual respect and admiration. Ethan admired her courage and intelligence, while Lyra valued his calmness, ingenuity, and human approach to challenges. Yet beneath the calm and laughter, Ethan never let his guard down. He continued tracking anomalies in the palace systems, suspecting that someone still watched, waited, or planned the next move. One afternoon, he finally noticed a pattern in the interference, a series of deliberate signals sent to the medical wings instruments timed to disrupt treatment subtly. Whoever was behind this had inside knowledge, and the next attempt could be more dangerous. Ethan shared his findings with Lyra. "Princess, your condition is stable now, but I believe someone may try again. We need to be ready." She nodded, her expression serious. "Then we will prepare. I trust you, Dr. Hale. Together we can face this danger." Ethan felt a surge of determination. The mission was no longer just about medical recovery. It was now about protecting the princess and uncovering the truth. Human courage, intelligence, and persistence would be tested in a world far beyond Earth, and he was ready. As evening fell, Ethan walked through the palace gardens alone for a moment, gazing at the twin moons of Xerion shining above. The planet was beautiful, its people intelligent and advanced, but danger was near, unseen yet threatening. He clenched his fists lightly. "Whoever is behind this, I will find you, and I will protect her." The first part of the mission had been a success. The princess was stable and their partnership had begun. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, when danger would rise again, and human ingenuity would be tested against hidden threats in the heart of Xerion. For now, the palace was calm. But even in calmness, Ethan's mind remained sharp, planning, observing, and preparing for what was coming next. The palace of Xerion was quiet in the early morning, yet Dr. Ethan Hale's mind was far from calm. Though Princess Lyra had recovered remarkably under his care, the anomalies and tampering he had noticed were impossible to ignore. Someone inside. The palace had tried to harm the princess, and Ethan was determined to uncover the truth. He began his day by reviewing the security logs again. The floating screens in the control room displayed movements, access attempts, and environmental changes throughout the palace. Ethan noted the pattern carefully. Each interference had occurred during times when only a select few had access to sensitive areas. It was clear. The perpetrator had inside knowledge. Minister Veylan arrived carrying a data crystal. "Dr. Hale, your discoveries are troubling," he said. "If your suspicion is correct, someone may be planning another attack. How do you propose we protect the princess?" Ethan pointed at the holographic display. First, we strengthen her protection. Second, we monitor all activity around the palace closely. Third, we need to find the person responsible before they can strike again. Valen nodded gravely. We will follow your lead. But be careful. Zirian has many factions, and revealing suspicion too early could create tension in the court. Ethan agreed. He needed subtle investigation, and he would rely on both human intuition and Zirian technology. Later that day, Princess Lyra walked into the lab, her steps steady and confident. "Dr. Hale, I have been thinking," she said. "If someone wants to harm me, we should anticipate their next move. Perhaps I can help." Ethan smiled. "You are brave and clever, Princess. Together we can examine the palace systems looking for irregularities." They began a detailed analysis of the palace networks, checking the medical wing, living quarters, and security hubs. Lyra observed Ethan's methods closely. He moved systematically, noting every anomaly, questioning patterns, and predicting outcomes. Hours passed, and Ethan finally found a small, hidden signature in the system logs, a subtle code that indicated unauthorized access. "This is it," he said. "The intruder left a trace. They are skilled, but not perfect." Lyra leaned closer to the floating display. "Can you tell who it is?" Ethan shook his head. "Not yet. But we can narrow it down. Whoever did this has knowledge of both palace systems and medical procedures. The two worked together, combining their knowledge." Lyra explained palace routines, security schedules, and staff behaviors, while Ethan applied human logic and reasoning to the data. Slowly, a clearer picture emerged. The suspect had both motive and opportunity, someone high in the court who stood to gain if the princess were weakened or removed. While they worked, the princess asked, "Doctor, do humans often face threats like this?" Ethan thought for a moment. "Yes, though usually not as unusual as this. Humans face challenges, but we rely on courage, quick thinking, and intelligence to solve them. That is why I am confident we can protect you." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "I am glad you are here. Your mind, it is unlike anyone I have known. You see patterns we might miss, possibilities we would not consider." Ethan felt a surge of pride, but he kept focused. The enemy was clever, and he could not afford distraction. By evening, they had narrowed the suspect to a small group of officials who had access to both the palace systems and the medical areas. Ethan carefully reviewed their schedules and histories, seeking any sign of motive. One official, a high-ranking advisor, had unusual absences and unexplained access records. The evidence was circumstantial, but concerning, as they discussed their findings. The alarm sounded again, soft, urgent, different from the previous alert. Ethan's heart raced. "Something is happening," he said. "Stay here, Princess. I will check immediately." He rushed through the corridors to the medical wing, scanning every system. The lights dimmed suddenly, and a holographic display flickered. Ethan realized someone was trying to tamper with the instruments again. Quick thinking was essential. Using a combination of human logic and Zirian technology, Ethan locked the systems and traced the signal. It led him to a restricted hallway near the palace archives. Moving cautiously, he noticed footprints that glowed faintly under Zirian's light-sensitive floors. The intruder had been there recently. He followed the trail to a side chamber and discovered an assistant trying to access sensitive files. The assistant froze, seeing Ethan. "Doctor, Stop," Ethan said firmly. "Step away from the console." The assistant hesitated but obeyed. Ethan accessed the security logs and confirmed that this person had been involved in the sabotage attempts. "You endangered the princess," Ethan said calmly but firmly. "Why?" The assistant faltered. It was not my idea. I was ordered." Ethan frowned. "Ordered by whom?" "Speak the truth and perhaps you will find mercy." The assistant revealed a shocking truth. A rival faction within the palace sought to gain influence by weakening the royal family. Their plan had been subtle, using bioagents and minor sabotage to create fear and uncertainty. The princess had been their target, and Ethan had unknowingly foiled part of their plot. Ethan processed this carefully. He could not act openly yet. Exposing the faction too early might trigger retaliation. He would need a plan to protect the princess and stop the conspirators without alerting them prematurely. Returning to Lyra, he explained what he had learned in careful words. "Princess, there is a group inside the palace who wanted to harm you. They are clever and cautious, but we now know the source. We must prepare, quietly, and ensure your safety." Lyra's face was serious but resolute. "Then we will prepare. I will not allow fear to control me, and I will trust you to help protect our people." Ethan felt a deep respect for her bravery. "You are very courageous, Princess. Together, we will face this." Over the next few days, Ethan and Lyra strengthened her protection. They revised security protocols, trained palace guards in subtle strategies, and monitored palace systems constantly. Ethan also tested new medical safeguards, ensuring that any future sabotage could be detected immediately. During their work, Lyra continued learning about human medical methods. She asked countless questions, absorbing every detail. Ethan noticed that she was not just curious but analytical, able to apply concepts quickly and creatively. One evening, as they reviewed palace records, Lyra spoke softly. "Doctor, I do not fear danger when you are near. Humans, you think in ways that inspire confidence. Perhaps that is why we survived before." Ethan smiled, grateful for her trust. "We are stronger together, Princess. Human intelligence, Zirian technology, and your courage, that combination cannot be easily defeated." Despite the calm, Ethan remained vigilant. He knew the conspirators were watching, perhaps planning the next attempt. His human instincts, combined with careful observation, told him that danger would rise again, and he needed to be ready. Meanwhile, Lyra began practicing basic security protocols, learning how to move safely within the palace, avoid traps, and recognize suspicious behavior. Under Ethan's guidance, she became not only a recovering patient, but an active participant in her protection. One night, Ethan reviewed all the findings and realized a pattern in the intruder's timing. "Princess, they strike when attention is elsewhere, when routines are predictable. If we can change routines, remain unpredictable, we can reduce their chances of success." Lyra nodded. "Then we must be clever like you. Humans do not always follow patterns, and perhaps that is our advantage." Ethan smiled. "Exactly. We use intelligence and creativity, not just force. That is why we will succeed." As the twin moons of Zirian rose high in the sky, Ethan looked out over the palace gardens. The threat was real, but so was their preparation. He knew the next phase would be critical. The conspirators were clever, the palace held secrets, and the princess's life could again be in danger, but Ethan felt ready. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and now on an alien world far beyond Earth, his courage, knowledge, and ingenuity would be tested in ways no one could imagine. For Princess Lyra, for the safety of Zirian, and for the honor of humanity, Ethan vowed to face the danger head-on, the calm before the storm was over. The next challenge awaited, and Ethan would meet it with determination, intelligence, and human bravery. The palace of Zirian gleamed under the light of its twin moons, but a shadow lingered. Despite all precautions, the conspirators within the palace had grown bolder. Their next move would be decisive, and Dr. Ethan Hale could feel the tension in the air. Ethan had spent the day reviewing security patterns, making subtle changes to routines and coordinating with Princess Lyra and the palace guards. Yet he could sense that the enemy was waiting for a single mistake, a chance to strike when defenses seemed weakest. Late that night, a sudden alarm pierced the stillness of the palace. A red glow flashed across the corridors, and the soft hum of machines grew louder. Ethan's instincts kicked in immediately. "The princess!" he shouted. He raced through the corridors, using shortcuts and hidden passages he had memorized during the past days. The palace was vast, but Ethan moved with purpose and speed, relying on his human reflexes and intelligence to navigate efficiently. Meanwhile, Princess Lyra had been attending to a late-night review of her own notes when the alarm sounded. The room's door slid open abruptly and masked figures stormed in, wielding stun devices. Lyra reacted quickly, pushing a console button that sealed the exits temporarily. But the attackers were persistent. Ethan arrived just in time to see the masked figures cornering her. Without hesitation, he drew himself into the fray. Though he was human and physically smaller than some of the attackers, his quick thinking and agility gave him an advantage. He dodged a strike, grabbed one of the stun devices, and disabled it using a simple human improvisation. "Stay behind me, Princess," Ethan shouted. Lyra nodded, moving to a safer position while Ethan engaged the intruders. His movements were precise, not relying on brute force but on strategy and observation. Every action he took counted. The attackers were surprised by his skill. Humans were not known on Zirion for combat ability, and they had underestimated him. Ethan used the environment cleverly, sliding under a floating console, using it as a barrier and guiding the attackers into narrow corridors where they could not surround him. Lyra watched, impressed and reassured. She realized that human ingenuity and courage were as formidable as Zirion technology. In that moment, her trust in Ethan deepened, and she began to act in coordination with him. Seeing an opening, Ethan directed Lyra to follow a hidden service corridor that led toward the palace gardens. "This way. It will take us outside the main corridors where they cannot corner us." The two moved swiftly, Lyra keeping pace, guided by Ethan's calm voice. The masked attackers pursued them, but Ethan anticipated their movements, creating obstacles and using doors to slow them down. Every step was tense, every moment critical. They reached the garden, bathed in the silver light of Zirion's moons. The soft, glowing plants created both beauty and cover, and Ethan used this to his advantage. "Hide behind the tall, luminescent bushes," he whispered. "We will make them think we vanished." The attackers, following predictably, were misled by Ethan's strategy. They searched the main paths, unaware that the princess and her human protector had blended with the environment. Ethan took this moment to assess the situation. They could not remain hidden forever. The attackers would eventually notice. He turned to Lyra. "We must move to the palace's secure tower. It has reinforced defenses and an observation deck. From there, we can call for assistance without being intercepted." Lyra nodded, her resolve firm. "Lead the way, Dr. Hale, I trust you." As they advanced toward the tower, Ethan noticed a small group of attackers attempting to flank them. He quickly scanned the surroundings and spotted a service elevator hidden behind a waterfall-like structure in the garden. "This way, quick." They dashed toward the elevator, activating it just as the attackers closed in. The metal doors slid shut, and they began ascending. Ethan held Lyra close, ensuring she remained safe, his mind calculating every move. The elevator reached the secure tower, and Ethan immediately contacted palace security through a holo transmission. "We have confirmed intruders. Deploy all security units to the palace gardens immediately." Within moments, Zirion guards mobilized, moving with precision and speed. The attackers outside were intercepted and captured before they could reorganize. The immediate threat was neutralized, but Ethan knew this was only a temporary victory. Princess Lyra, still catching her breath, looked at Ethan with admiration. "You saved me. Again. I cannot believe how you think, how you act. Humans. You are remarkable." Ethan smiled modestly. "It is not only about courage, Princess. It is about staying calm, observing carefully and using what you have. Humans face challenges with what is available, and sometimes that makes the difference." Lyra touched his arm gently. "Your mind, your courage, your determination. It is unlike anything I have seen. You have earned my trust completely." Ethan felt a sense of pride but remained vigilant. "We must remain cautious. The faction behind this may still have allies within the palace. I will stay and ensure your continued safety." Over the next few hours, Ethan worked with the palace security to strengthen defenses. He implemented simple but effective strategies: unpredictability in routines, additional monitoring of critical areas, and layers of emergency medical protection. The princess watched, learning quickly. She asked, "Doctor, do humans often handle threats like this?" Ethan shook his head. "Not exactly like this, but humans face dangers every day in different ways. The key is to stay calm, think clearly, and act with purpose. That is what matters most." Lyra nodded, absorbing the lesson. She realized that intelligence, courage, and strategy could outweigh sheer strength or technology alone. In Ethan, she saw an example of what humans could achieve. By dawn, the palace had regained calm. The captured attackers were interrogated, revealing further details of the faction's plans. They had sought to destabilize the royal family, creating fear and chaos to gain influence. Thanks to Ethan's quick thinking and courage, their plot had failed completely. Princess Lyra, now fully recovered and safe, approached Ethan. "Dr. Hale, your actions today, they have changed how I see humans. You risked yourself without hesitation and you protected me and the palace. For that, I am grateful beyond words." Ethan smiled warmly. "It is my duty to help, Princess, and it is my honor to serve someone as brave and intelligent as you." Minister Valon entered, his expression a mixture of relief and respect. "Dr. Hale, your heroism has not only saved the princess, but also the palace and the royal family's stability. The king will want to meet with you personally." Lyra nodded. "Yes, Doctor, you deserve recognition from my father. Your courage and skill have earned our highest respect." Ethan felt a sense of humility. He had acted out of duty and determination, not for reward, but the recognition was deeply meaningful. His actions had bridged human bravery with Zirian trust, creating a lasting bond between species. Later, in the presence of the king, Ethan was formally honored. The king praised him for his courage, intelligence, and quick thinking. "Dr. Hale," the king said, "you have proven that humans, though distant in our galaxy, are capable of great heroism. You have saved my daughter and upheld the honor of Zirian. For this I reward you." Ethan accepted the king's words with humility. "Your Majesty, I am honored to serve. My goal has always been to protect the princess and help your people. The reward is the trust and safety of Princess Lyra and the palace." Princess Lyra smiled, stepping closer. "Dr. Hale, your bravery and intellect have not only saved me, but have shown all of Zirian that humans are worthy allies. I will never forget what you have done." Ethan realized that this adventure was more than a mission. It was a test of courage, intelligence, and humanity. On a distant planet in the heart of an advanced civilization, a single human had made a difference. As he looked out over the palace gardens, the twin moons shining brightly, Ethan knew that his journey was not over. The faction that had attacked the princess might still exist, but human ingenuity, determination, and courage had triumphed. For now, Princess Lyra was safe, the palace secure, and trust between humans and Zirian stronger than ever. Ethan had proven that even in the far reaches of the galaxy, humans could stand tall, brave danger, and save lives. And somewhere deep in the palace, the remaining conspirators reconsidered their plans. They had underestimated a human's mind, courage, and resolve. Their schemes were defeated, not by technology alone, but by the heart and intelligence of one determined human. The night was calm, the palace peaceful, and the stars above Zirian sparkled with possibility. Ethan knew there would be challenges ahead, but for now, humanity had won respect and he had gained something even more important: the trust of a brave princess and a grateful king. The palace of Zirian shone in the morning light, brighter than ever. Dr. Ethan Hale walked through its corridors, feeling a sense of accomplishment and cautious pride. The events of the past days had been intense, testing his courage, intelligence, and resilience. Yet now, for the first time, he could see a calmness settling over the palace. Princess Lyra was safe, the conspirators had been captured, and the royal family could finally breathe easy. Ethan's thoughts were interrupted as Minister Valon approached him, a smile of respect on his face. "Dr. Hale, the king requests your presence in the throne room. He wishes to formally honor you for your actions." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of humility and anticipation. "I am ready," he said. The throne room was vast, filled with light and decorated with symbols of Zirian's history and achievements. Citizens and officials had gathered to witness the ceremony. At the center, seated on an elevated platform, was King Arian, regal and composed, his eyes reflecting both gratitude and curiosity. Princess Lyra stood nearby, her expression filled with admiration and relief. The king rose as Ethan entered. "Dr. Hale," he said, his voice deep and commanding yet warm, "you have proven that courage, intelligence, and determination are not limited by species or planet. You saved my daughter's life, protected my palace, and demonstrated qualities that all Zirians admire." Ethan bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, it was my duty and honor. I only did what any person should do to protect life." The king nodded, approvingly. "Your humility is matched only by your skill. For this, I offer you a place of honor among our people. You will have access to our knowledge, our technology, and our friendship. More importantly, you have earned the lasting respect of the royal family." Princess Lyra stepped forward, her eyes meeting Ethan's. "Dr. Hale," she said, her voice steady, "you showed me courage when I needed it most. You taught me that intelligence, bravery, and compassion can overcome the greatest dangers. Your actions have changed my view of humans. You have earned my deepest gratitude." Ethan felt a warmth he had not expected. "Thank you, Princess Lyra. Your courage, your calmness under pressure, and your willingness to learn made my work possible. Together we were able to protect your life and the palace." The king gestured, and a ceremonial robe, woven with glowing threads unique to Zirian, was presented to Ethan. It was a symbol of honor usually reserved for the most distinguished heroes of the planet. As he donned it, Ethan realized that he was no longer just a visiting human. He had become a trusted ally of the Zirian royal family. After the ceremony, the king invited Ethan to a private discussion. They walked through the palace gardens, the twin moons reflecting off the luminescent plants. "Dr. Hale," the king said, "your people have much to offer the galaxy. Your actions here show that humans, though distant, possess qualities that are invaluable: courage, creativity, and empathy. We hope to build lasting relations with your world." Ethan smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I believe humans and Zirians can learn much from each other. Today we showed that together we can overcome threats that neither of us could face alone." Princess Lyra joined them, walking alongside Ethan. "Doctor, I wish to continue learning from you. Not just medicine, but your ways of thinking, your problem-solving, your courage. Humans have much wisdom to share." Ethan chuckled. "And I wish to learn from you, Princess. Your people's knowledge, technology, and understanding of life are remarkable. This is only the beginning of a partnership, I think." Over the next few days, Ethan worked closely with Princess Lyra and the Palace Council to strengthen Zirian's security, improve medical facilities, and integrate some human medical techniques. He also helped establish a training program where humans and Zirians could learn from each other, exchanging knowledge in ways that would benefit both worlds. The palace buzzed with optimism. Citizens praised Ethan's courage and skill, and the princess's health and confidence had fully returned. The conspiracy that had threatened the royal family was dismantled, thanks to Ethan's careful planning and decisive actions. One evening, as they observed the twin moons from the palace balcony, Lyra spoke softly. "Dr. Hale, do you ever think about your home planet, Earth?" Ethan looked out at the stars. "Every day. But now I see that Earth is only part of what humans can achieve. Out here, far from home, humans can make a real difference, can help and protect life across the galaxy." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "I see that now. You, a single human, changed the course of events here. Your courage, intelligence, and determination saved lives. It is truly remarkable." Ethan smiled. "It was not just me, Princess. You helped, too. You stayed calm, observed carefully, and acted wisely. That made the difference." Lyra's eyes reflected admiration and trust. "Perhaps humans and Zirians were meant to learn from each other. Your presence here is proof. In the weeks that followed, the bond between Ethan and the royal family grew stronger. He was consulted on medical matters, security strategies, and even diplomatic relations. The princess often spent time learning from him, and together, they shared ideas about medicine, science, and leadership. One day, King Arian held a council meeting to discuss the future of human-Zirian relations. "Dr. Hale," he announced, "you have proven that humans possess qualities that are essential for friendship, cooperation, and peace in the galaxy. We welcome your people as allies, and we honor you personally for your courage and wisdom." The council members bowed, and Ethan felt a sense of pride mixed with humility. He had never imagined that his skills could be recognized so far from Earth, or that he could make such a profound impact on an alien world. Princess Lyra approached him afterward. "Dr. Hale, the people of Zirian now see humans as protectors and friends. You changed that perception with your actions. I am grateful not only for your courage but for your kindness and intellect." Ethan smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. "Thank you, Princess. I hope that this is just the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples. There is much we can learn from each other." The palace gardens that night were calm and beautiful. The twin moons reflected off the glowing plants, creating a serene atmosphere. Ethan walked beside Princess Lyra, both of them sharing ideas and laughter. It was a moment of peace after days of danger and tension. For Ethan, it was a reminder that courage, intelligence, and compassion could make a difference, anywhere, even in worlds far beyond his own. And for the people of Zirian, it was proof that humans were worthy allies, capable of heroism and honor. As he prepared to leave the palace later, the king presented him with a personal gift, a medallion crafted from Zirian crystal symbolizing trust, respect, and friendship between their worlds. "Keep this as a reminder, Dr. Hale," the king said. "Your courage will not be forgotten, and your actions will inspire generations of both humans and Zirians." Ethan accepted it with gratitude. "I will treasure it, Your Majesty. It represents everything I hope to achieve: trust, understanding, and the protection of life." Princess Lyra added softly, "And it reminds us of the courage and intelligence humans bring to the galaxy. I hope your people continue to visit, to teach, and to learn together with us." Ethan looked out at the horizon, at the glowing city of Zirian, and felt a sense of fulfillment. He had traveled across the stars, faced dangers unknown, and proved that human ingenuity and courage could shine in even the most alien of worlds. As he gazed at the stars, he realized that this was more than a mission. It was a beginning. Humanity had earned a place among the stars, not through power or technology alone, but through bravery, intelligence, and the willingness to protect and help others. Princess Lyra stood beside him, her eyes reflecting admiration and trust. Together, they looked toward the future, a future of cooperation, understanding, and shared knowledge between humans and Zirians. For Dr. Ethan Hale, the journey had been extraordinary, but the real reward was not the honors, the medallion, or the recognition. It was knowing that he had made a difference, saved a life, and built bridges across the galaxy. The palace of Zirian glowed peacefully under the twin moons, a symbol of harmony restored. And in the heart of it all stood a human doctor, whose courage and intelligence had earned not only a princess's trust, but also the respect of an entire world. And thus, on a distant planet far from Earth, humans were honored, trusted, and remembered for their heroism. As Ethan Hale began a new chapter in a universe full of possibilities,